Hello, everyone. This year's eclipse season started, first eclipse season started 2 weeks ago. And on May 5th, we are going to have a penumbral lunar eclipse. The problem with it is that it is penumbral. I'm going to explain what it means. And you won't be able to observe it from London or from England. What is happening physically during an eclipse? The solar eclipse, I explained it 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to go into it, but it occurs at the new moon. And the lunar eclipse always occurs at the full moon. And the full moon suggests that you have the two luminaries exactly opposite each other. And if it's aligned with the Earth, then the Earth is umbra. Its shadow is slowly covering the face of the moon, which is highlighted by the sun, fully highlighted by the sun, either obscuring it completely when the umbra, the real shadow, is doing it. But if it's a half shadow, then it's only just kind of blurring it in a way. Sometimes it becomes reddish, sometimes it becomes gray, depending on the shadow itself. So that is what's physically there. In karmic astrology, we usually treat oppositions in a way that this is the only tense aspect that you are able to ignore simply or disregard, because unless you have it in a configuration, if it's just a free floating opposition, then what the native does is a very, very typical behavior. He or she chooses one end of the opposition and it lives out completely and fully that end and projects the other end to the outside world. And actually, even if you observe someone close to you, you will see this happening, because people can completely disown the other planet as if it didn't exist. Now, this is not possible when you have a sun or moon opposition, because both the sun and the moon are also luminaries. So they are highlighting and illuminating any other planet that they are making an aspect with. And with the opposition, they are fully illuminating the other one. And when you have a sun-moon opposition, let's say someone was born exactly at the full moon, or right before the full moon, so it's at the end of the gibbous moon or the beginning of the full moon, you will have it there in the chart. In this sense, this person is always soul searching, because the sun is highlighting what's in there in the subconscious, hiding in the subconscious, and the moon, which is your unconscious urges and emotions, are highlighting back into the ego development. So that's what's happening during the full moon. But when the Earth is umbra, is covering it, this fully highlighted moon face, then all of a sudden the third dimension, the physical body, the physical senses, the human urges are actually blocking out everything, both the moon and the sun, in a way, because of course the moon reflects back the sun's energy. Here is, what did I do here? Hold on a second. So here's the chart, and that's for London. And as you can see, I took this picture from Date and Time, and it shows the shadow of the whole eclipse, where you can actually watch it or observe it. You can do this from Australia, from Asia, and from Africa as well. Most Asia is covered, really. That's quite interesting, but not in London, not in England, and Sweden is also out of the picture. So as you can see in the chart for London, it happens on May the 5th at 1834. The sun is still up. It's going to be up for another 2 hours. And so the moon, by the time the moon comes up, you won't be able to see the thing. What are the highlights of this chart? Very quickly, Pallas Athena is on the midheaven, Pluto is on the IC, so you need wisdom for your future, but you may actually experience complete transformations within your home. The Aries-Jupiter conjunction, although separating, is still quite tight, and there's a big traffic jam in Taurus, and Jupiter is also soon going into Taurus, leaving Aries and going into Taurus. and there's going to be a Sun-Uranus conjunction in a few days. The Sedna-Juno conjunction is already separating, but still there. So you can still rearrange the non-working segments of your partnerships and relationships. Jupiter is still enlarging, drastically altered outward circumstances. Mercury is retrograde, and there's still a tight North Node Australia conjunction, but the Australia Vesta is at the moment separating, but soon they will catch up with each other. So you will have that as well. So those are the highlights of the chart. And the main feature is the dissolved fixed T-square involving the Sun, Moon, and Black Moon Lilith. What is Black Moon Lilith? She is the third turning point in the Lilith myths. She is the archetype who goes back into the Garden of Eden and liberates Eve from not having a soul. I have Lilith videos out there, you can watch them. And Lilith here is at the apex of the this opposition, so it creates a fixed T-square. And as I'm recording this, the Pope Francis is in Hungary. It's a big thing. He has been actually in Hungary for the third time, if we consider Csíksomlyó a Hungarian territory, which it used to be for thousands of years. Now it's in the segment of Romania that they're not going to go in there. But anyhow, so he touched Hungarian soil for the third time in 4 years. So that's quite remarkable. And I must say, I didn't like Pope Francis first. I have very serious doubts about the popes since the Medicis, so for the last 500 years. But anyhow, he changed a lot. It's quite interesting to see how this was a very, very globalist pope. And of course, the liberal media loved him. And now they are not very loud about him. And because he actually, as he got older and probably wiser and closer to the grave, he actually rectified a couple of his ideas and got very much closer to the original scripture. Now, this kind of suggests his behavior pattern anyway. Of course, Lilith is a feminine archetype, but it really describes an archetypal behavior where when I'm able to go to a place where I'm not welcome, which I left by my own volition and decisions. And I go back because I have work to do there. And I do this with courage, with stamina, with endurance, with determination. And I don't care what the others think. That's practically the description of this. As you can see, this T-square is kind of dissolved by in a very interesting way, because if you actually look at the T-square, it is not dissolved. But since the Sun is in an applying conjunction with Uranus, it's almost there. There's a Uranus-Chiron semi-sextile, and that is what is actually dissolving the tension of the fixed T-square. Here are the transcendental celestial objects. On the Sun, you have Hel, the underworld goddess of Norse mythology, Diana, the hunter, and two fixed stars, Almach and Menkar. As you can see, Almach is a gamma star, Gamma Andromeda, feminine happiness, and it is a brighter star than Menkar, this Alpha Cetus, the stare of the celestial veil, which is underneath. It is in a liminal space between the constellations Aries and Taurus, occupying a space where there are no zodiacal constellations. It's a hiatus, and that's where the stare of the subconscious is coming up and showing us the things what are deep down in our soul or psyche. On the Moon, you have Ishtar, who is Venus in Mesopotamia, who is the goddess both of war and love. Ashurbanipal, who was a king in Mesopotamia. So here clearly the Middle East is heavily featured, let's put it this way. Mbaba Mbavareza, she is a Zulu fertility goddess, and she denotes true environmentalism, not the green idiocy, but truly the honoring of waters and sunshine and forests and animals. In many respects, it is what we call the true creation protection. So it's environmental protection is really an outdated concept. You need to protect creation itself on the earth plane, human beings included. And there's a fixed star, Zuben el-Ganubi, not quite there, but the sun is in an applying conjunction with it, the moon, sorry. And this is the alpha star of Libra, and the scales of Libra indicate eternal balance, some kind of divine eternal balance. That's exactly what we would need at the space-time moment. On Chiron, you have two strong women, Medusa and Minerva. Minerva is, of course, the goddess of wisdom in Rome, and Medusa, who is a very dark archetype because she, first of all, she's raped, and then her head is cut off. But at the same time, she is the very strong feminine who is being destroyed. But even in her death, she is a weapon. And then on Uranus, you have Tisiphone, which is the goddess of retaliation. And on the Black Moon, you have Hubris, revolt against gods and against the wish of gods. And two bright stars, Occupants, which is Alpha Cancer. So the whole constellation Cancer is about motherhood and cardinal emotions. And then Koha, which is Beta Ursa Minor, and the little bear symbolizes to be protected by the goddess. So some as another feminine archetype. And here you have a very interesting finger of fate at 5-6 degrees of the signs. Saturn in Pisces is making a sextile to the North Node, Astrea conjunction. This is a separate, still tight, but separating conjunction, because of course the nodal axis moves backward and Astrea moves forward. And again and again, until this is there, I will keep telling you that this is the time to think for the future. This is the time to make decisions about your harmony, your well-being, your financial situation, things that you need to prepare, because the North Node in Taurus signifies such a time. There will be another 18 years before we have such an occasion again. And Saturn in Pisces is not very nice. It's not very happy, because it's very hard to produce boundaries in a watery situation. And at the apex of the finger of fate, there is Dark Moon Lilith. And Dark Moon Lilith is the archetype where it signifies a behavior where I will do what I need to do, and I don't care even if you curse me. I need to do it, and I will do it. So that is the and such a behavior is something that is necessary at the current space-time moment as things are in the world. And also, in a way, it signifies that the powers that be are no longer hiding. They no longer care what they do is they do stuff against your wish, against the people's wish. They no longer ask us whether we want a war with Ukraine, whether we want to send them 65 billion euros. Has anyone ever asked the American people whether they want to finance this war, whether they really want to send technology to the Ukraine? No one is asking anyone really. The powers that be make decisions, crazy, reckless, and very, very dishonest decisions, and they simply show the contempt for the average person. They no longer democracy. Come on, this is a Mark Twain was right. He said that you think that if this was true, they would allow us. No, that's not true. It's very, very. It was a very revealing remark. Anyhow, here are the transcendental objects. On Saturn, you have Terpsichore, who is the muse of dancing. Gong Gong. I have a video. I just posted a video 2-3 days ago about Gong Gong. exactly conjunct Saturn. Gong is a TNO, and it is a water dragon or water snake in Chinese mythology who has a human head with copper and iron. And in one of the cosmic fights, he simply knocks into the canopy of the cosmos and makes a large hole in it. And it signifies huge cataclysms. And then Abadige is the alpha star of Cygnus, and Cygnus is one of the birds of the shaman birds or Taltosh birds that are flying towards the North Pole and also flying towards the Milky Way. If you Google it, you will see that Cygnus as itself is on the Milky Way, and it has very, very bright stars. It's a beautiful constellation. It really looks like a cross. It's also called the Northern Cross. There's a Southern Cross, of course, as well, but this is more like a bird energy. And North Node, the North Node Astrea conjunction has Meshartim and Sheratan. Those are the two stars of Aries, and I spoke to them about them many times. Meshartim used to be a star that was prominent in 4000 BC, signifying a new era. And on dark moon you have Nate and Akhenaten, and those are two Egyptian figures. Nit is the creator goddess, a proto-creator goddess in Egyptian mythology, and Akhenaten, of course, is the pharaoh who is turning the polytheistic Egyptian faith into a monotheistic one when he starts to worship the Aten, the sun disk. There's also two triangles intertwined. There's a mini engine. We could also call it a dissolved square. What are engines? Engines are funny creatures. You don't really find them in traditional astrology because they don't, first of all, they don't work with quincunxes and semisextiles. And also they don't really delineate configurations that are too diverse. And here, this is a very diverse configuration. All engines are made up by a square, some sort of harmonious aspect, either a sextile or a trine, and a karmic aspect. So actually they come from three different aspect families, and they're joining in to form an energy pattern that carries weight, that is able to act. So engines are quite powerful. This is a mini engine because the connecting semisextile is the minor karmic aspect, but you still have the square. This is a square between Venus and Neptune, and of course they are each other's aspects. Venus is carnal love and the physical aspects of love, and Neptune is higher love, universal love, and transcendence. Venus is always the physical reality, and Neptune is always the transcendental reality. And now they are clashing with each other. And then the sextile between Venus and Jupiter is beautiful, of course. So it is dissolving the energy. And the other triangle is a tension triangle. You have a square, a semisextile, and a sesquiquadrate with Venus, Neptune, and dark moon. And here are the transcendental objects. On Venus, you have Hector, who was the hero of the Trojan War. Asbolus, who is a centaur, and he's an oracle, but the others always disregard him and never pay attention to his predictions. But whenever he makes a mistake, then he is brutally ridiculed. So it's a very sad archetype. And then, of course, Venus is also in Polaris. We are going to go back to this. This is Alpha Ursa Minor, and currently our pole star. And it's a dimension portal. On Jupiter, you have Zoser, Pharaoh, and Cerberus, the keeper of the gates of the underworld, and another dimension portal, Andromeda Galaxy. On Neptune, you have Athene, and this is not the same object as Pallas Athena, which is the second asteroid that was discovered in 1802. This one is just a minor asteroid, and it is more linked not to so much to wisdom, but to protection. And then on Black Moon, you have Hubris and Acubens and Kohab, two bright stars. We already talked about those. Okay, and this is something that I wanted to show you. At the moment, Venus is out of bounds. It is at 25 degrees 59, so practically 26 degrees, which is 2.5 degrees higher than the ecliptic. You can see that it's above the ecliptic. And it is currently at the moment of the eclipse at 27 degrees 56 minutes in Gemini, conjunct aligned Polaris. You see, they can never be conjunct actually, because Polaris is the North Pole star, and Venus is on the ecliptic. Well, yes, admittedly a little bit above the ecliptic, but still, it's a planet, so it is bound to be on the ecliptic or close to the ecliptic. So it will never be conjunct the pole star, never. But they will be aligned at the moment, and in a day, actually in a couple of hours, Venus will be aligned Betelgeuse, which is the alpha star of Orion, and then another day later it will be aligned with Menkaelion. So at the moment, Venus's daily travel is 1 degree and 6 minutes, which is average. We could say, because we usually give 1 degree as average, and at the moment it's 1 degree 6 minutes, so it's still average. But with the fixed stars, you need to allow only a 1 degree orb. So in a couple of hours after the eclipse, Venus will be aligned with Betelgeuse, and still aligned with the pole star as well. But 2 days later, this alignment falls apart. So that's how you look at it. It's always important to see actually where a star is. And then you can determine whether anything can be conjunct it or just aligned. So that's it for the lunar eclipse. Eclipses are always bringing not just good things, but negative things as well. As I'm recording this 4 days earlier, I have no idea what will happen in those 4 days. I just hope that nothing horrible. Although when I'm reading my colleagues' articles about the financial system, global financial system, how it looks like it's going to apparently fall apart. The Venus-Neptune squares could actually indicate such a period in the space-time. We will see. Happy eclipse. Bye.